Hi everyone, it's So from So's Real Thoughts. Today we are going to be talking about our March film favorites. Super excited because I started rewatching a lot of good stuff, and I always feel like March is a great month, kind of come back after the Oscars. Kind of. Oscars was the beginning of the month, but now we're kind of going back into the flow of things, which is really great. To get started, just gonna wait a few minutes. I'm just gonna do a little shout out and then we'll get to it. So let's hold for a minute. How's everyone doing today? I always like to do live streams pretty sporadically, but I feel like for the most part, I either will do it in the middle of the week, most likely Wednesdays, even though it's Tuesday today. But I'm gonna try to, whenever I do live stream, it's usually in the middle of the week, middle Tuesday, yeah. So let's see. Cool. Okay. So this month, so as you know, I am on Letterboxd, so you can kind of track what I've been watching throughout the month. So you can see it there, which I think will be linked down below. Also, that's the other thing I forgot. But all the links of everything I will talk about with the trailers and everything else will be down below right after this live stream. So just refresh and then you can get all the information there. And so, yeah, I feel like January, February was kind of a slow month, but then I got really back into watching a lot more stuff on March. The platforms that I usually watch is on Netflix, Hulu, Canopy. Canopy is a free streaming service where you could pretty much watch all the Criterion films. I talk about Canopy a lot because I feel like it's such a hidden gem. If you have a library card, you can just register online and watch as many films as possible. So I've been kind of getting back into the groove of things. A few announcements. I finished making my short documentary called Liquor Store Babies, which will premiere in May at the LA Asian Pacific Film Festival in Los Angeles. I'm super excited about that. I'm also kind of ramping up, sending out my previous short film, In Bloom, to festivals at the moment. But I really think I might just premiere it in the summer and have my own little party because at a certain point, you just can't wait for festivals to accept you. And I'm like, let's just do it. So, yeah, excited. So we have that. So beginning of the month, I first film favorite of March, I watched Ava DuVernay's Wrinkle in Time. I know that this was one of those books that you read as a teen or in school or whatever. I actually never got to read that. Also, I wasn't a big reader in high school at all, but it is an iconic book from was it the 60s? 1962 came out, and I guess it won a bunch of awards, and this was like the book that was untranslatable onto screen. Like you couldn't bring it to life. And so I didn't really know what I was going into. I had not read the book. I just kind of went in going in blind. I really like Ava DuVernay. For one thing, I really, really love the cast. Oprah, Reese Witherspoon, Minda Kaling, and newcomer Stormy Reed. I think that's her name. So yeah, Stormy Reed. So I was really excited, and I went in really not having any expectations. So I was pleasantly surprised. Definitely, it could be a lot better, but for somebody attempting this film for the very first time, I feel like she did a pretty good job because, yeah, there are ideas that are pretty abstract and you can't really capture the essence on screen as much. But I believe that, you can really, it was the best that she could do. And I love the soundtrack. Sade did a song for the soundtrack. and it's incredible. I love the song. It's so beautiful. And there's moments where I was like, man, I wish I watched this as a kid. And also as a children's film, it got really dark. So it was kind of scary. Overall, it was so colorful, visually stunning. I felt I was so emotionally compelled to the story because I felt like if I watched it as a kid, I would kind of be a bit timid. There was a kid named Levi Miller, I think that's his name. He was incredible. Like child actor, like oh my god. Okay, but let me just double check. He was mind blowing. No, not Levi Miller. There's another guy. Also, Levi Miller was good. He's this Australian actor who was like a counterpart to Stormy Reed. But I'm talking about the little brother. What's his name? He was in like such conviction. And he really scared me. Cause he's like, oh my god. He was kind of when he wanted to be mean, he was really mean. And so I will get to that later. I really can't find what his name is. This is stupid. Hold on. So I watched that. I felt, oh god, it's like movies like that you have to watch on the big screen, or it just doesn't feel like the same. And I'm glad that this came out with stellar cast. Everybody was so freaking good. Okay, wait, what's his face? Oh, Derek McCabe. Yes, Charles Wallace. Derek McCabe, that's his name. He's like this little boy. His name's Charles Wallace. He was so commanding on screen. I loved him. Amazing. Okay, so that was probably the most recent film that I watched that I really, really enjoyed. There's two other films that I actually watched on Canopy, and both Asian films. You know how I love my Asian films. One is a documentary called Tokyo Idols by Kyoko Miyake. And it's about basically girl bands and girl J-pop groups in Japan and how what the phenomenon of their lives and how so basically Tokyo Idol explores a cultural phenomenon driven by an obsession with young female sexuality and a growing disconnect between men and women in hyper modern societies. So basically I always thought I'm pretty into K-pop right now, and there's some crossover in K-pop and J-pop, but it's so different when it comes to female idols, especially in Japan, because I guess you are at your prime when you start from say 10 to like 20. And so once you hit like 21, you're basically an old fart. And it's like this gross kind of look at how these old men, old, I guess, they're in their 40s, but old in comparison to the women or the girls who are in their tweens, and they're like obsessed over them, and they follow them wherever they go. They dedicate their whole lives, financial livelihood, just so they can see them at every concert, every fan meet, everything, get all their merch. And it's quite amazing. Like for myself, I really want to explore K-pop in that aspect, especially when as female fans, we kind of look up to male idols. But in Japan, it's like the complete reverse. And it's quite fascinating to see that happening. And it almost seems like an acceptable form of pedophilia in a way, because these guys are they're just openly obsessing, and it's okay to be like that. They feel a connection with these little girls, and somehow some of them have outright have said that if they were not young, I would not be interested, which is quite disgusting. But I really, I like watching things where you kind of get into a subculture or a culture or different aspect of life and groups of people. And I really want to try to understand them. And so I love watching these, kind of going through their head, seeing their fascination come to life. And it is quite bizarre and scary, but it was very, very eye-opening, especially for somebody like myself who thought knew about J-pop. There's like this whole system in place, especially for female idols, and I really it's interesting because Kyoko Miyake, the director, is a female filmmaker, and I feel like there's she was kind of trying to explore why she felt disconnected in Japan, and then she realized that it's because probably like this, female females in Japan kind of are sexualized and they are yet looked down upon, and there's just this really weird relationship, gender dynamic and politics that go on to what happens when you're growing up in Japan or whether you're an idol. And so I just thought that was fascinating because there's so much to unpack there. And there's so much complexity in being a female in Japan. And somehow you are powerful, and at the same time, you're kind of suppressed. And I really, ooh, yeah. Man, okay. So that's another documentary to watch. And then another film that I watched on Canopy was Young Sang-ho's Seoul Station. This is an animation film that Young Sang-ho made well before Train to Busan. Same director. He calls Seoul Station his prequel. And we all know Young Sang-ho's style of filmmaking, which is very dark, very gritty. He does not play around, and I feel like he takes it even further when he does animation. He does come from an animation background. He has his own company. Train to Busan was his first live action film, which was phenomenal. And I'll link down below my review of Train to Busan right after this review. But Seoul Station, it really takes that same concept of zombie films, kind of incorporates a lot of Korean politics into it, gender dynamics, as well as just like the climate of Korea. I don't know how to really explain that any more clear, but yeah. Also, for a recap, so somebody just came in, Zach just came in and said, "What did I miss?" And I'm gonna go over it. So I'm talking about my film favorite, Seoul Station. We just talked about Ava DuVernay's A Wrinkle in Time and this really insane J-pop documentary called Tokyo Idols. So those are the things. So we are talking about Seoul Station, and so like I was saying, I feel like Young Sang-ho has so much more freedom when he does animation because he can go so much darker. There's a lot of elements that definitely he could not have put in Train to Busan, especially for it being live stream and for it having a little child. I feel like for a prequel, Seoul Station kind of plays off the possible father-daughter dynamic, as well as homelessness in Seoul. I think that's what it was. Yeah, it's really fascinating. If you get a chance to watch it, I really, really liked it because the way he does his animation, it's so vivid. The colors are so alive, and there's like actually a twist of sorts at the end. And Young Sang-ho, honestly, I don't like watching some of his stuff because it's too heart-wrenching. It's too raw. It really is a huge downer, and you can feel like the pressure of living in Korean society. So, but he does that the best, which is incredible. Also, he's coming out with a new film called Psychokinesis, which is a superpower film, which I will also link down my trailer reaction of it. Apparently, it's coming out on Netflix this month, so I'm really excited. I guess it premiered in Korea in February, and now it's coming out on Netflix, which I do not mind because I was wondering when it was going to come out in theaters. it definitely looks very different from his usual style, but I'm excited to see it. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I've been talking like nonstop for a sec. There's so many great things that I watched that I'm probably not gonna talk about. So just look at my letterbox and see what I watched, and then just personally ask me on Twitter or Instagram what I thought. I am posting different types of reviews on my Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. Not or. I'm actually posting on all of them on pretty much everything that I watch that are worth talking about. I watch a lot of stuff. If it's really shitty, I'm not going to talk about it. It's a waste of energy, to be honest. So, yeah. I got a movie pass like everybody else, uh which has been very convenient. The only shitty thing about it is that you have to personally go there, get your ticket, but otherwise, you could basically watch any movie that you like. And I don't know how they're gonna succeed off of this plan, because they're like losing a lot of money, it seems. So yeah, should I do should I do a list of the best Korean films, because there are a lot, and they can get a bit emotionally draining, but I feel like it might be worth talking about, because I feel like a lot of people know about the best Korean cinema. If you go online and look it up, they're all there. But I feel like maybe I should talk about the hidden gems that are really, really great. So, okay. Uh, okay. Other people are talking to one another in the chat room, which is fantastic. So the last March film favorite that I watched is this insane documentary series on Netflix. You might know what I'm talking about. You might know what I'm talking about. And I honestly wasn't gonna watch it. I really was like, oh, I don't know. It's like Mark Duplass. I really like Mark Duplass, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? Not sure, not sure. But my friend Jen was like, you have to watch a series. She's really into cults. Dead giveaway. And so started watching Wild Wild Country. It's a 6-part series, and it kind of chronicles uh, this controversial Indian guru named Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, aka Osho. He basically is famous in India. He came to America to he had so many followers. He came to America and they were trying to find land. They finally found land in Oregon, so he kind of settled there. And it's really insane and fascinating story about how that cult kind of took over this small part of Oregon, and how it kind of incited this insane fight, feud with the local politicians as well as the citizens. And it gets crazy, y'all. Like, I'm really surprised that this huge chunk of American history was completely forgotten. Like, it felt like a massive thing that we should all know, and maybe textbook somehow, maybe. And yet this is the first time I'm ever hearing about it, which, whew. The documentary is directed by these brothers, I assume, McLean Way and Chapman Way. It is phenomenal because so the documentary is compiled of firsthand interviews by the Rajneesh followers, their most avid followers, their lawyer, the right-hand secretary named Sheila, and other members. Oh my God, I cannot speak today. First count interviews, first-person interviews, as well as archival footages. So it's basically just that, but they build on this story so well, and it really takes you back, and they remember things so vividly about every little thing. And so this this story is so insane. I know they're called a free sex cult, but I I think that's just like a easy umbrella term for them. I really just think they were devotees and really believed in this one guy named Bhagwan. And I think what really spurred everything is the feud. The amount of xenophobia that is happening in this series is incredible. Like, imagine that this would have never happened if people weren't so scared of different types of people, and that's exactly what happened. And at the same time, I feel like maybe I should do a whole rant because I was really gonna go into it, but I just want to tell you it is an insane documentary. It explores xenophobia. The feud results in bioterrorism, attempted assassins. There's a lot of things going on, and these people are so fascinating. The lives that they lived is insane because they're like just living their own lives, and then all of a sudden they're worshiping this one guy, and the way everything turns out is quite unbelievable. So I always feel like you have to watch it to believe it. I i really like that the series was very it humanized a lot of the characters who honestly could be insane. They could be a little evil and bad, and they probably are. But hearing from them and hearing how much of an impact this community was to them is mind-boggling and very respectful in a way. Like, dang, I can respect that. Like the conviction and the passion that you have for this community. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I honestly couldn't sleep after I watched it. I like watched it for 6 hours straight, and I was I was really blown away by just. It's not a scary series, but for some reason it really like made me irk, and I don't know, I had very ill feelings for some reason, and I was very stressed about their whole journey in life. So it's like I don't want to go into it. It's so fascinating. I might just do another rant about everything that's going on unfiltered. So that's what's gonna go on. So that was my March film favorites. If you don't know, I have a letterbox. Go watch it. Go look at it. Been watching a lot more stuff. So to recap, my March film favorites were A Wrinkle in Time, Tokyo Idols, Seoul Station, Wild Wild Country. I know I came out with a review for Idol of Dogs, which have been getting a lot of hate, which is honestly kind of exciting because I usually don't get that much hate. And now that I have people who are so against me talking about the film is really honestly refreshing because I want people to engage in the conversation. Like, you come here, people like myself may not have the same opinion as you, which also is I'm always welcoming because we could dish it out, we could talk about it, and there's never a moment. We're talking about film. There's no right or wrong answer. It's basically whatever you think of the movie, whatever you get out of it. So I really think this is like a good place for discussion. Not a good place for attacks. I don't really care if you attack me. Like, it doesn't really change my opinion in any way, but I really like hearing what you have to say about the film, what I have to say about the film, and we kind of can have this space where we can openly talk without it being like abrasive and aggressive and kind of like, let's fight, whatever. So let me know what you guys are watching this month. April is now. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of things happening. I will keep you updated if I end up releasing one of my shorts online, because I definitely want you guys to be able to watch it as well, and maybe we can have an online premiere, possibly, and everything else. So let me know if that sounds good. I will have to. I'm thinking if I have time, I definitely want to make a weekly live stream, a regular thing. Um, I have a lot of ideas that I want to talk about, so we'll do that. That sounds like fun. Um, Young Dub said Atlanta on Netflix. I did watch first season. Really excited to watch second season. The thing is, I don't have FX, so I'm like, how do I watch it? But somehow I will find it. I will watch it. I really liked first season. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's about it. I'm gonna go rant a little bit more on my Instagram stories, just a little bit. Um, Tune in for that. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening this week, which I don't know how to share with you guys what's happening through YouTube. So other platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are probably the best. I think there's a way to post on Google Plus and it kind of filters into your YouTube, but that sounds so complicated. Like, no, 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 no. Let's keep this pretty simple. If you have any recommendations for anything, let me know. Also, I rewatched half of Akira last night. I always forget how terrifying the film is, really. Yeah, there's a lot of ideas. Okay, I may return next week for another live stream, so look out for that. Coming out with new trailer reactions and other things. There's not that many great movies coming out lately, so no reviews, but there's a lot of great screenings happening in LA, so I'm really excited about that. And we'll be seeing you guys very, very soon. Bye!